Hey performers, and welcome back to the channel. In this video we're going to talk about how you can get the best night of sleep in your life. We're going to talk about the 4 essential things that you have to do in order to improve the quality of your sleep. So after working with dozens of clients on their sleep, on their peak performance, I've noticed that these 4 things are most essential in improving the quality of your sleep. So let's get into them. So the first step you should take in order to improve the quality of your sleep is regulating the light in your environment. And why do you have to do that? What I see most entrepreneurs do is that they have a ton of light on their face when they go to bed, and this is really ruining your sleep. Because light is the biggest factor that determines your biological clock. And without going too deep into the science, your biological clock is basically responsible for a ton of processes in your body, and it makes sure that you have good energy, that you're healthy, that you don't have brain fog and stuff like that. So the first step in improving your biological clock, so living with your biological clock, is looking at the light in your environment. And the second thing, which is actually one of the most important things in improving the quality of your sleep, is have a consistent sleeping schedule. And this goes hand in hand with the previous thing I talked about with your light in your biological clock. If you constantly wake up at a different time and go to bed at a different time, then your body can't set the biological clock. You can go outside for 30 to 60 minutes, you can not view any light at night, but if you're not waking up and going to bed at around the same time, then your biological clock will still not be set and you will still experience all the negative side effects. And what happens if you're constantly switching from sleeping schedule, so one time you're going to bed at 11 p.m, then you're going to bed at 1 a.m, and then you're waking up at 7 a.m, then you're waking up at 9 a.m, then your body, it will feel like for your body as if you're in your constant jet lag. For your body, it doesn't really matter if you're going to a different time zone or you're constantly waking up at different times. For your body, it's exactly the same. And I don't know if you've ever felt jet lag, but it's one of the worst things you can have, especially for your performance. So that's why it's so important to have that consistent sleeping schedule, because then your biological clock can be set and then you will improve the quality of your sleep. So how does it work exactly? You have to set your biological clock. And what I mean by that is that you wake up and go to bed at around the same time, and you also do the things with light. And what happens then is that the right hormones will be released at the right time. So for example, if you don't do this, then at night when you want to go to bed or when you're sleeping, your body will secrete the stress hormone, cortisol, and that will wake you up, or that will make sure that you can't fall asleep. And the same is with melatonin. Melatonin is your sleep hormone, and if you don't regulate these things, then your body won't secrete melatonin, and so you won't be sleepy, you are not able to fall asleep. So that's why it's very important to do these kind of things, and this is basically how it works. So what do you want to do? What's like the actionable step? Pick a sleeping schedule that you know you can set yourself to. So don't, for example, what I also say to people, of course, it's best to go to bed at around 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. and wake up at, let's say, 6 or 7. If we look at like how we lived in the prehistoric times, then that's the best thing that you can do. But one of the more important things is that you wake up and go to bed at consistent times. So for example, if you're a night owl now, so you go to bed at like 4 or 2, then start making a consistent schedule. So for example, go to bed at 2, wake up at 10. And from there, if you have that consistent schedule, then go backwards. So then, for example, go to sleep at 1 and wake up at 9. And then go to sleep at 12 and wake up at 8 after like a few weeks, because you want to do it incrementally. That way your biological clock can really adjust to it, and that will improve the quality of your sleep the most. The third step in improving the quality of your sleep is tracking the quality of your sleep. And if you don't track the quality of your sleep, you can't know where to improve. And for example, what I see most entrepreneurs do is that they know exactly what kind of revenue is coming in, what kind of like their sales closing percentages, stuff like that, but they don't have any insights into their sleep, into their recovery. While actually, I would argue that those things determine your revenue, the sales calls you book, the closing rate you have. Because imagine having a sales call on 6 hours of shitty sleep, or having a sales call on 8 hours of a very high quality of sleep. I think like generally you will perform better on that higher number of sleep, and you will be able to have more output in your business. And that's why it's so important to first get the insight into what is the quality of my sleep. For example, you can wake up tired, but if you don't know if that's due to you waking up a lot, if that's due to you having bad deep sleep, if that's due to you having bad REM sleep, something I'll go into in a further video, then you don't know where to improve, because there are certain strategies you can use for certain kind of things if the quality of your sleep is bad. So how does it work? Like, if you get insight into the data, then you can try out different routines and supplements, and you can see how it improves the quality of your sleep. For example, I can tell you, hey, take magnesium or take this supplement to improve the quality of your sleep. But if you don't know if it has an effect on you, then you can take all of these stuff, but you don't know what the real effect is on you. So of course, you first want to base things off your feelings. So am I feeling better? But if you can also support it with data, then you can really set steps into your sleep and the quality of your sleep. So how can you start tracking the quality of your sleep? So for example, I have an Oura Ring. The people I work with have an Oura Ring. And what the Oura Ring does is that it tracks the quality of your sleep and it tracks the quality of your recovery. So you can see if you're recovering from workouts, you can see what the quality of your sleep is. Another thing that you can use is the Whoop Band. It's sort of the same, it's more focused on really activity tracking, but also on sleep tracking. And lastly, you can also use an app called Sleep Cycle. But if you really want to delve deep into it, then I would highly suggest buying an Oura Ring or buying a Whoop Band, because they're way more accurate than, for example, the Sleep Cycle app. And then the fourth part in improving the quality of your sleep, and it's so simple, but all of these things with sleep, they're so simple, but most entrepreneurs and most people, they don't value them because they think, for example, sleep is for the weak, or they just don't value the quality of their sleep. Well, if you look at your own life, like the days you had a good night of rest, I know for a certain fact that you had way more output, that your performance was way higher than, for example, when you slept for 4 hours or stuff like that. Like you think that you can still perform at that level, but if you look at studies, if you, for example, look at the book Why We Sleep, there are some great studies in there. It just shows that people don't even notice that their sleep is bad, but if they look at like cold hard performance facts, then the people on 8 hours of sleep, they perform way better than, for example, people on 6 hours or 4 hours. So that's why it's so important to improve the quality of your sleep. But that was not what we're talking about. The fourth step you can take to improve the quality of your sleep is the duration. So what you can do with duration is that you have to find out how much hours you need to sleep. So what's really good for you, and then sleep those amount of hours, because you need to give your body the time to recover, and more sleep means better recovery to a certain extent. So of course, sleeping like 10 hours, that might not be that beneficial, but going from 6 hours to 8 hours will see a drastic improve in your performance and the quality of your sleep. And also know that your body needs quality sleep. So that's REM sleep, deep sleep. In another video, I'll go deeper into that. But basically, REM sleep, what it does is sort of refreshes you mentally. So what you'll notice if you have bad REM sleep is that you won't feel as refreshed when you wake up. And REM sleep is something you get in the later parts of your night. So it isn't really there in, for example, the first 4 to 6 hours of your sleep, but it's mainly there in the last maybe 2-3 hours of your sleep. So what you want to do is you want to give your body the ability to get REM sleep, because then you wake up refreshed and you don't have like the brain fog, the low energy and stuff like that. So what you can do is first find out how much sleep you need, and then also know this, like this is the biggest mistake I see entrepreneurs make, is that they think if they are, for example, laying in bed for 6 hours, that they sleep for 6 hours, and they say, yeah, I can just manage on 6 hours of sleep. But actually, if you, for example, are in bed for 6 hours, so there's a difference between being in bed and actually sleeping, then if you are in bed for 6 hours, you will probably sleep only for around 4.5 to 5 hours, because it takes some time for you to fall asleep, and you almost always wake up during the night and you're awake for a few minutes every night. So what happens is that you think you sleep for 6 hours, but you actually sleep only for 4.5 hours. So that's why I always recommend to people sleep like be in bed for at least 8 hours every night. If you see that you're tired or your recovery is not that well, of course sleep more, but that's the bare minimum that you should reach in order to have good quality of sleep and also up your performance. So these were the 4 tips that will make your sleep the best quality ever. And do you want to start really optimizing your sleep and getting to the next level in your performance? Then book a quick casual chat with me in the link below, and then we can talk about your goals, for example what the quality of your sleep is and what you can do to improve it. So thanks for watching, and book a call with me in the link below. And if you look at here, you can see other videos that you can watch that are about performance, that are about productivity, to make you perform at the highest level.